Alright, welcome back. My name is Maxim Smith, and I have been the beta tester for an alternative to college called The Preparation for 2.5 years now, and it's been going pretty well. And that's the topic of today's video, is just how impressive this program is. For those of you who are more analytical, parents, grandparents, but also those of you in the preparation, I think this video will be super helpful for you. It'll either be convincing or motivating. You will be convinced and or motivated by this data. It's damning evidence and proof that the preparation works. That the whole idea of spending 4 years of your time instead of going down one main path where you have no real life experience and no real accomplishments to speak of, you're condensing several years of time, effort, energy, and work into like 20 or 25 years for a lot of people worth of energy, effort, and work into 4 years of time. So you're studying a lot, you're working, you're going through multiple courses, learning different things. You are not only learning skills, but actually using them in the field, in real life. And then when you come out the other side of those 4 years, I think it's possible to kind of continue a version of the preparation, much less strict, but to continue that throughout your entire life, where you continue to learn with intention. And that increases your value along the way. It increases your opportunities as well. But also, if you want to go back, if you finish the preparation, you're done with it, and you're like, okay, you know what? I know that I for sure want to be a carpenter now. I for sure want to start my own business. I want to, who knows, sail for the next year or 5 years. You can do all those things, but you have an incredible foundation, as we'll see here, proven by the numbers, to just kind of go in any direction you want and do it in a much more intelligent and competent fashion than pretty much everybody your age. So anyway, this ChatGPT chat here that I have pulled up all came from just me screwing around. One night I was like, okay, I have my list of accomplishments from the last 2.5 years, major accomplishments only, and I want to see how this stacks up to the average 18 to 22-year-old. I want to know percentage-wise how rare these skills are, how rare these experiences are. And so I said, this is my list of accomplishments. Go accomplishment by accomplishment and describe, using percentages, how many people 18 to 22 have these same skills or experiences. And so it's a little messy, but these are all the major accomplishments over the last 2.5 years. Some of them are experiences as well. And so I'm just going to read through all of this. I'm going to read through all the percentages for at least this first prompt that I gave it, because I need you to feel the full weight of just how uncommon and sometimes rare these things are. Not to stroke my own ego, there is zero ego attached. I have no emotion going into this when I'm presenting it to you. This is purely just to show you what's possible, to show you just how beneficial this program is, and to also motivate you if you're in the preparation. Because I know, I get it, it's constant uncertainty. You are going through a program which hasn't even been fully tested yet. I think the results of the last 2.5 years for me are a testament to how valuable and amazing this program is, but obviously I haven't done the full 4 years, and unlike college, there aren't tens of millions of people being churned out of a system, an institution every year to, well, now it shows why it doesn't work, but in the past it worked for a short period. So I understand that there's constant uncertainty and that you need as many sources of motivation as you can get. And I think, especially for those of you who are more analytical, more numbers oriented, this will do it for you. But even for me, I am not at all numbers oriented, and this was amazing. Like I said, I'm going to go point by point, so you can skip to whatever part of the video you want to. Maybe just skip to the end of the prompt where the real interesting stuff is and where the summary is. But it replied, here's the straight estimate. There are not official census percentages for each item. Almost no public data sets track things like, quote, 18 to 22-year-olds who have packed mules into the backcountry. I'm giving best estimate rarity bands for people 18 to 22, mostly benchmarked against US/English-speaking young adults. So now let's go down, like I said, point by point here. So the percentages are all estimates of the 18 to 22-year-olds, English-speaking, who have the same skill or have had the same experience. Basic conversational Spanish as a second language, 5 to 15%. Certified EMT, 0.5 to 1.5%. And just keep in mind, like, the duration of each course, how long it takes to gain foundational level competency in each skill, or how long a certain experience lasts. I mean, it took me 4 months to become a certified EMT. My class was 4 months long. I could have done a 2-month long one, and that gave me a great set of new skills that I never could have imagined I would ever have. Unlocked new knowledge, unlocked many opportunities as well. And it was just 4 months of work twice a week, 4 hours twice a week. That was it. And that already puts you in the top 0.5 to 1.5% of 18 to 22-year-olds. Certified wildland firefighter, and that's a type 2 firefighter, 0.1 to 0.5%. Read dozens of serious books, essays, and speeches. That's over 100 now over the last 2.5 years. 1 to 4%. Wrangler School in Wyoming, less than 0.05%. Ranch hand on a regenerative cattle ranch, 0.2 to 0.8%. Operate farm equipment, 2 to 6%. Learn to shoe horses, less than 0.1%. Learn the basics of horsemanship, 2 to 5%. Learn to inspect and treat cattle, 0.5 to 2%. Basics of accounting, 15 to 35%. Completed the AWAI copywriting course, less than 0.1%. Spent 26 days as an EMT on the 2024 Falls Fire at $600 a day. That's less than 0.01%. Regular Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu plus some Muay Thai practice, 1 to 3%. Climbed 4 Colorado 14ers, and that's 14ers, a 14,000-foot mountain, 0.05 to 0.2%. Climbed most of a Colorado 13er, 13,000 feet, 0.1 to 0.5%. I would have made it to the top. I was a mile away. I was close, but there was this 1,000-foot long sheet of ice that was probably like 30 feet across the trail too, and if I would have stepped out onto it, I would have slid all the way down, which would not have been fun. So most of a 13er. Packed mules into the backcountry, 0.01 to 0.05%. Finished closed water scuba dive, 0.5% to 2%. Tandem skydiving jump, 1 to 3%. Wrote 150 plus essays, 0.2 to 1%. Hundreds of hours of chess practice and private master lessons, 0.2 to 1%. Attended a REMS course in South Dakota, which is a rope rescue course, 0.01 to 0.05. Knots and hitches, learning a few, 3 to 10%. Became a Colorado public notary, 0.05 to 0.2%. Rock climbed for the first time, 10 to 25%. Completed a motorcycle driving course, 1 to 4%. Worked 2 menial jobs, 25 to 45%. I get that that's not impressive. It was impressive to me at the time, or as a big event at the time when I did it, because that was early on in the preparation. I worked at Office Depot and as a pizza delivery boy for West Side Pizza. And yeah, at the time, that was a major accomplishment. 15 days on the Willamette Fire Complex as an EMT, making $600 a day, 0.01%. Became a open water certified scuba diver, 1 to 3%. Studied regenerative agriculture, 0.5 to 2%. Learned how to butcher a cow, 0.2 to 1%. We can skip the interviews as well as online courses, although they're worth noting because of how few people frequently do online courses out of their own will. And obviously, if you take an economics course, depends on which one. The Hillsdale one is very good. Or an Athens and Sparta course, you are going to learn a lot from it, but they're just not as interesting going through this list. 21-day competent crew course in the Falkland Islands, less than 0.005%. Learned how to do pre-flight inspection, takeoff and landing small aircraft, 0.1 to 0.5%. Passed the FAA written exam with 90%, 0.05 to 0.2%. Completed a 5-day woofer, which is Wilderness First Responder course, 0.1 to 0.5%. Took rock samples with geologists in Nevada, 0.01 to 0.1%. Worked on an induced polarization geophysics crew in Nevada, 0.005 to 0.05%. Did kickboxing in Paraguay for 2 weeks, 0.101 to 0.05%. Flight training in Uruguay, 0.01 to 0.05%. We can skip these things and the academic stuff. Started an agricultural drone business in Uruguay, 0.001 to 0.02%. A few more things with that. Traveling to Asia for the first time. Traveled to Thailand. Well, Asia means Thailand and Japan. Started Muay Thai, 1 to 4%. Did 3 weeks of Muay Thai training in Thailand, 0.02% to 0.1%. And then, training at a Thai-owned Muay Thai gym in Osaka, Japan, 0.02 to 0.1%. So anyway, that's the list of the major accomplishments within the last 2.5 years. There's many more small ones, but I just wanted to show you point by point just how few people have done things like this, how easily you can get ahead, how easily you can position yourself for greater opportunity, for the ability to go down any avenue you want to in life, really, is what I'm trying to show you. But let's look at the big picture here. Individually, your list has a mix of common, uncommon, rare, and nearly unheard of items. Another point here, just to emphasize the fact that this is not at all to stroke my own ego. You can do all this in the preparation. So you can sail in the Falklands too. You can learn how to sail in the Falklands too. You can work on wildfires, become an EMT. All of this is available to you. Going back to it, the common ones are things like menial jobs, basic accounting, first rock climbing experience, and beginner investing. The rare ones are EMT, woofer, fireline work, FAA written, scuba certification, serious riding, ranching and ag skills. But the extremely rare cluster is this. And just go into the preparation book and look at how many of these things you can do yourself. Become a fireline EMT. Working on fires. Attending a wilderness first responder course. Becoming a wilderness first responder, which doesn't really matter compared to an EMT, but there's slightly different skills there. Mule packing, ranch work, aviation, geophysics, sailing in the Falklands, agricultural drone business, published author, all that. That combination is probably found in far less than 0.01% of 18 to 22-year-olds. In plain English, not 1 in 1,000, probably closer to 1 in tens of thousands, maybe rarer, depending upon how strictly we define same or equivalent. So that's in the English-speaking world, but I wanted to go a little further and ask it what the results are if you're measuring this on a worldwide scale. And so it did. And I'm just going to scroll past this. You don't need to hear every percentage point, but you can see as I scroll slowly, it gets so much rarer. Everything all of a sudden is so much rarer. Lots of 0.001s. So let's read this part. What changes on the worldwide scale? Some things become less rare globally: farm work, raising chickens, butchering animals, livestock handling, menial jobs, basic agricultural experience, and maybe even motorcycle experience. That's definitely true. A young man in rural India, Mongolia, Kenya, Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, Uruguay, or Nepal may have more practical livestock or agricultural experience than a young American. But your list becomes far rarer as a total pattern. This is the point with preparation, is that having one skill is already great. If you're a carpenter, you have the skill of carpentry, even if it's just a foundational level, even if you just have the skill at a foundational level, that's more than most people. But if you have the combination of being a carpenter, plus being an EMT, plus knowing how to sail, plus knowing how to operate heavy equipment, plus being able to scuba dive, plus understanding economics and how to manage your own money, plus understanding at least a few different periods of history, the list goes on and on and on, your value and the value of each individual skill becomes 10x'd by each skill with it. The combination supports itself. It's intertwined, interconnected. Everything matters more because there are more skills overall. If you have 50 skills, it's a lot more impressive than just one skill. Even if you're an intermediate carpenter, a person who has a foundational, basic level understanding of 50 skills, even 20, is oftentimes, depending upon how they live their life, more impressive, just numbers-wise, than the carpenter. And that's just an example. That's not to single out carpenters or anything. So, far rarer as a total pattern because you're combining rural competence with modern credentials, English-based self-education, international travel, media, entrepreneurship, aviation, emergency medicine, combat sports, sailing, geophysics, and drone agriculture. And then these are the most rare items globally. We can skip this part. The overall global rarity is the important part here. If we measure the exact list, you are probably functionally unique among global 18 to 22-year-olds. If we measure a broad equivalent profile, a young man who has serious emergency medicine / fire experience, ranch work, horsemanship, mule skills, not so much with the mule skills, aviation training, scuba, combat sports abroad, published writing, podcast appearances, geophysics fieldwork, serious self-education, sailing in a remote region, and an agricultural drone business in another country, I'd estimate that profile at roughly 0.0001% to 0.001% of global 18 to 22-year-olds worldwide. That means somewhere between 1 in 100,000 and 1 in 1 million. Given a global 18 to 22 population around 600 to 700 million, that would put your broad profile in the range of perhaps hundreds to a few thousand people worldwide. And if we require the exact combination of locations, skills, and public accomplishments, likely far fewer. These are the numbers that matter: 0.0001% and 0.001%, 1 in 100,000 and 1 in 1 million. This is the stuff that matters. This is the data. This is the proof in numbers that this works. You have the real life proof where not just me, but several other people in the preparation have gotten opportunities since starting the preparation, which is typically directly due to the fact that they are doing what they're doing, learning so many skills within a short period of time, showing personal agency, confidence, and the desire to be competent. I mean, opportunities flow at that point. I feel like I've had 1 or 2 major opportunities every year, and sometimes it's, I guess, over 2.5 years. Maybe there's 1 year where it's 3 or 4, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same for a lot of you guys in the preparation. So you have that example of things working in real life. If you go to EMT school and become an EMT, you can work on wildfires, and you can make a lot more money than a 911 EMT makes. Of course, you're going to gain great experience as a 911 EMT, but the money is in wildfire. At least part of the money is in wildfire. So you have the real life examples of things working in real time, like you are making more money from the skills you gain. Each skill you gain stacks on the last one and becomes more valuable. And then you have the number side of things showing you, okay, if you do this amount of things, if you accomplish this much, have this many unique and rare experiences within a 1-year time frame, 2-year time frame, 4-year time frame, once it's at a certain point of 30 or 40 different unique skills or experiences, you are proving that you are capable and confident. You are able to insert yourself in uncertain situations, uncomfortable situations, and not just survive, but literally thrive, because you come out the other side with a new skill, perhaps a new avenue to earn money, likely new connections with interesting people or relationships. You come out the other side with so much, and it's proven through your list of primary major accomplishments. And obviously, once you actually try to find the data on what that amounts to, this is what it is: 1 in a million, 0.0001%. So I asked it one more question, and I'm going to go over this super quickly. Okay, without measuring the rarity of specific skills or experiences, how rare, percentage-wise, is it to have comfortability in each of those general skills at age 20? I asked because I understand that, having something on your list, having a point on your list where it says, okay, worked 26 days on the Falls Fire in Oregon making $600 a day, that's hyper niche and hyper specific. So of course it's going to be rare. So let's try to find out what the rarity of each general skill or experiences is, percentage wise. And I'm not going to go through each individual one, but you can still see it's all pretty rare. Very few people have this. So overall estimate, let's go down here. I'd estimate 0.01 to 0.05. That means roughly 1 in 2,000 to 1 in 10,000 global 20-year-olds has all of these general skills. But if we raise the bar to someone who's not merely exposed to these things, but genuinely comfortable in nearly all of these domains, I'd put it closer to 0.001 to 0.01%. That's a big difference there. And being comfortable, it defined it up here. Not expert, but no longer intimidated, you can enter the environment, understand the basics, perform beginner to intermediate tasks, and speak intelligently with people in that world. That is not a super high bar. And for me, I think I have reached a level of comfortability in nearly all of these things. I wouldn't say I'm highly competent at any one of these specific things, but definitely have a level of comfortability and or maybe very basic competency in nearly all of them. So these are the numbers here. You know, they speak for themselves. 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 100,000. 0.001 to 0.01%. And actually, for those of you who want a little bit more motivation, I asked this one more question. How rare percentage-wise are each of these accomplishments with the average 70-year-old? Someone who has already lived their entire life globally. And I clarified at the end, I had one more prompt for it, just asking, one more question for it, just asking or clarifying whether or not it was actually counting the entire life of a 70-year-old. So let's say 60 years of time, and it said yes, it was counting it. I'm not going to go through all of these again. You can see very rare. Still very rare for all these percentages. Let's skip to the bottom. Of course, it says the same thing, like farm work and manual jobs are less common. But if we go down here, the truest comparison against global 70-year-olds, you are not rare because you've done some farm work. Many older people have done farm work as well. You're not rare because you've worked menial jobs. You're not rare because you've traveled some. You are rare because you've combined, that word again, ranch work, horses, mules, cattle, fireline, EMT, woofer, REMS, aviation, scuba, 14ers, sailing in the Falklands, geophysics, public writing, publishing, podcast media, sales, marketing, international entrepreneurship, and drone agriculture, plus some other things. That combination is still probably less than 0.001% of global 70-year-olds. Fewer than 1 in 100 70-year-olds worldwide have a life resume with a specific breadth of practical, intellectual, entrepreneurial, physical, and international experience. Possibly much rarer. The exact combination may be closer to 1 in a million, especially if you require the same mix of fire, ranching, aviation, blah, blah, blah. So that's, I mean, what more do I have to say at this point? In 2.5 years, this is what you can get. And I didn't have the same resources. We didn't have the full preparation curriculum when I first started. And we didn't have it until about 1.5 years through my own preparation, through my own beta testing with this program. So if only I would have had it in the very beginning, I would have gotten so much more done, because I would have had the strict structure. I would have had, ideas to follow, good ideas to follow. I wouldn't have floundered at all, wondering, should I do this, or what's worth pursuing? What should I put my time towards? I would have had a great system to follow and gotten so much more done. So I can't even imagine what the numbers would be if that was the case, if I had it then. So for you guys who are in the preparation, or for you parents or grandparents, this could apply to your grandson or even your granddaughter. The amount you can differentiate yourself, the amount of skills and unique experiences you can gain in a very short period of time should be absolutely amazingly motivating to you, especially seeing it through the numbers here. If you have the preparation now, if you're just starting it, this should be motivation to follow the guidelines. Really try to stick to doing 3-month cycles. I get that moving on from one thing to the next in quick succession is not easy. It is a difficult thing, but the results, again, speak for themselves. They really do. And if If this is possible for me in 2.5 years, what's possible for you in 2 years is, or maybe even a year and 9 months. You could probably achieve these same numbers here of being having a life resume at 18, 19, or 20, maybe 21, 22, of, that's equivalent to 0.001% of global 70-year-olds, people who have already lived basically their entire lives and probably aren't going to learn any new skills or have many new experiences. That speaks for itself right there. And again, for you guys who have the preparation as it is now and are just starting it, over the course of 4 years, you would be literally one in a billion. Literally. I mean, unstoppable. Unstoppable. It's amazing. So, anyway, I hope this was helpful, convincing, motivating to you. If it is, let me know. I want to make sure these videos are entertaining and that they are helpful and enjoyable, fun to watch, educational. This video is a little different than what I would normally do, but I just had to tell you about this. I had to. So anyway, I'll see you very soon.